Y'all ready for this?
Today we are making beef bourguignon, which is a French recipe. By the way, I'm 1% French, so technically one of my ethnic recipes, I guess. And yeah, so that's what we're making today. In front, it was made in the 19th century in France. In French, it's bourguignon. So let's get cooking. For this recipe, we're going to need 1 tablespoon of good olive oil, 8 ounces of applewood smoked bacon diced, 2.5 pounds of chuck beef cut into 1-inch cubes, a pinch of kosher salt, a pinch of freshly ground black pepper, 1 pound of carrots sliced diagonally, 2 yellow onions sliced, 2 teaspoons of chopped garlic or 2 cloves, half a cup of cognac, 1 bottle of dry red wine. I use Pinot Noir, 1 can or 2 cups of beef broth, 1 tablespoon of tomato paste, 1 teaspoon of fresh thyme leaves, 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter at room temperature, 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, 1 pound of frozen onions, 1 pound of fresh mushrooms with the stems discarded, and for serving, sourdough bread, and half a cup of chopped fresh parsley. The first thing we're going to do is preheat the oven to 250 degrees Fahrenheit. This is an endothermic reaction because heat is going from the oven to later the dish surroundings. The next thing we're going to do is heat our olive oil in our Dutch oven over medium heat. This is an endothermic reaction because heat is going from the stove to the pot, which is then heating the oil. And then what I did in this clip is I took a spoon and tried spreading it over. That was kind of ineffective. What you want to do is try to take the pot and try to like swirl around to evenly coat it. The next thing we're going to do is add our bacon to our Dutch oven. And this is our second endothermic reaction because heat from the oven/pot and oil is going into the bacon. This is also a browning reaction because we can see the color change. This is also a chemical reaction. So we're going to cook this for 10 minutes, stirring occasionally until lightly browned.
Once you put it on the plate, it becomes an exothermic reaction because the heat from the bacon leaves the bacon system and goes to the surroundings. Next, we're going to dry the beef cubes with a paper towel. This is a physical change because you are drying the moisture out of them. We're also going to sprinkle salt and pepper on them. Now put the beef in the hot oil for 3 to 5 minutes until it is brown. This is an endothermic reaction because the heat is going from the oil to the beef cubes. When the meat is cooked, this is a Maillard reaction because the meat is getting cooked and turning brown. In the Maillard reaction, there is a reaction going on between the amino acids and the sugar is reduced.
Something I would have done better was cook the meat longer or at a higher temperature because when it came out it was a little bit tender.
After the meat is brown, take it off and put it on a plate. Once the beef is on the plate, this is an exothermic reaction because the heat from the beef cube system is going to the surroundings. Now we're going to cut our carrots, onions, salt, and pepper in the fat in the pan. This becomes a heterogeneous mixture because you can see all the parts. We're also going to sprinkle salt and pepper on it.
vegetables are going to be cooked for 10 to 15 minutes, stirring occasionally until the onions are lightly browned. Next, add the garlic and cook for 1 minute. This is a pyrolysis reaction, which involves the molecular breakdown of big molecules to small molecules. This occurs when the vegetables are cooked.
Once the vegetables are done, add the cognac and ignite with a match. This helps burn up the alcohol while still leaving the flavor.
By the way, I got my dad to help us with this because I was too scared to do it by myself.
Once it's done burning, put the meat back in the pot.
Les rêves des amoureux sont comme le bon vin. Ils donnent de la joie ou bien du chagrin. Affaibli par la faim, je suis malheureux. Volant en chemin, tout ce que je peux, car rien n'est gratuit dans la vie.
Now we're going to add 1 bottle of wine.
Two shots of vodka.
Add the beef broth and then the tomato and thyme. And bring to a simmer. This will help cook the alcohol off the wine. Cover with the lid and place in the oven and cook for 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Okay, here we go. Focus. Speed. I am speed. 1 winner. 42 losers. I eat losers for breakfast. Breakfast? Maybe I should have had breakfast. A little brekkie could be good for me. No, stay focused. Speed.
Dance break, then it's mystery time. Now I gotta cut loose, foot loose, kick off the Sunday shoes. Please, Louise, pull me off of my knees. continues. Now back.
After an hour and 15 minutes, take it out of the oven. Take half the butter and mix with the flour. Mixing this results in a homogeneous mixture. Add this to the stew. Adding the butter and flour mixture makes the stew thicker. Now add the frozen onions. Putting the onions in creates an endothermic reaction because the heat from everything in the pot is going to the onions. Now melt the rest of the butter in a pan. Now put the mushrooms in the pan and saute for 10 minutes until lightly browned. This is an endothermic reaction because the heat is going from the pan system to the mushroom surroundings. Add the mushrooms to the stew. Bring the stew to a boil and lower the heat and simmer for 15 minutes. Heating the pot is also an endothermic reaction because heat is going from the stove system to the pot surroundings. To serve, toast the bread in a toaster or oven. Rub each slice on one side with a cut clove of garlic. For each serving, spoon the stew over a slice of bread and sprinkle with parsley.